And we're on principle number 2 that has to do with, the reductionism that happened. Identify the idol's reductionism.
Right. So every worldview attempts to make claims about mankind, humanity, which in the Christian worldview is set apart, special, made in the image of God. And so by taking man or something within creation, elevating it to the status of this divine nature, this thing that is supersedes all other explanations, and that is the source for kind of all reality, then we're wanting to see how it kind of inverts the creator-created relationship. And so anything that's put in place of God will reduce, especially mankind idea of what it's interacting with. And so as we go on, it'll become more clear of where she's coming from. So hopefully if we've done our job correctly.
That's right.
And so she starts out by giving the story of from Harvard Divinity School, from this guy.
So let me just point out, all of her chapters start off with a story, which is kind of to grab your attention, that sort of thing. So I think that's a pretty good way to do things here. Right?
Yeah, it's showing, especially. I don't want to say it because I'm overly blessed by the number of people in my life who have exposed me to apologetics, and that you can question, are there contradictions in the Bible? And we did a book on that. Or, does science replace God? We did a book on that. And, does it account for morality? That was the second part of the book. So hopefully these things are more going away, and these open questions are allowing us to realize, that there are indeed answers for people who are questioning. So yes, all these chapters start out with a good story illustrating the principle that she's presenting. So this person kind of found Nietzsche in college, and especially in a divinity school, which is odd. And he kind of got won over by Nietzsche. I mean, Nietzsche is kind of the classic God is dead guy. He's the one that kind of has a no morals whatsoever. There's no moral standard that kind of goes against what kind of all of history have taught humanity.
So we usually
in some
call
sense.
that a moral nihilist or a nihilist. Yeah.
And so, this student says that he was won over by Nietzsche, but instead of questioning Nietzsche's atheism or nihilism, he was ignoring Christianity's positive contributions, which, if you read "God Is Not Great" by Hitchinson, he does the same thing as well. He also discovered that many of the freedoms and human rights enjoyed in the West are fruits of its Christian heritage. Modern science is largely the product of biblically inspired concepts, laws of nature. The just war doctrine, developed by medieval theologians, did much to bring an end to unlimited slaughter, rape, looting, enslavement. There are a host of moral ideas, from anti-slavery to women's rights, have their roots in Christianity. And yes, we can find handfuls of examples of people living opposed to these principles as well, or having disagreements within the church on that, especially things like slavery is a big one. But to say that Christianity is this awful thing that has downtrodden us for centuries, and we would be the Ubermeister, the Supermen of our time, as Nietzsche would call us. If it wasn't for religion, it seems like what Nietzsche is doing is supplanting man with this high ideal, even though it seems like anytime that Nietzsche's principles are carried out, what happens is death, poverty, disease.
So it's not really high; it's really ends up low.
Yeah,
right?
it attempts to elevate few over the many.
Right.
So the question
and her criticism here is that he wrote this paper in the divinity school in favor of Nietzsche, and the professor just gives him an A- and says good job, and he was afraid that he was going to get blasted by the professor, right? And no, that's not what happened.
Right. he should have challenged his ideas and said maybe there's something more to it, and the perfect example to engage in dialogue and utilize that if those those views speak strongly to you, view it as kind of your ground to cover and write papers and write books against it and try and defeat it and hone the Christian message even more to speak to people who have those different types of views. And we'll get into that more later too.